Hello, my name is Debbie Dotson, and today I had the pleasure of presenting this material to Senior Planet from AARP, and they did not record, so I decided to go ahead and record it so that you could have the information. So on the screen right now, you can see my contact information. If you still have questions, please feel free to reach out to me at one of those emails, and I will be happy to help you. This is not this is information to help you with travel, but it certainly isn't all the information, or I am sure there are things that you know that maybe I don't know. This is just stuff that I collected and that I learned as I began traveling in the last few years as a solo female traveler who's a little bit older. So here we go. So today I'm going to talk about a bunch of different topics. Because we're not live, there will be no way to ask questions other than to email me. So when you're thinking about traveling, there's several things that you need to consider. First of all, where do you want to go? Do you want to go internationally? Do you want to go local? What is it that you want to see? Some people call this the bucket list. I have a list of I call it my wish list, where would I want to go? And I actually take my wish list and I prioritize. What are my first priorities? Sometimes I do skip around with my own priorities, and that's fine too. But you need to know where these things are. What are your dream places? What are the things that you want to go, and where do you want to go? And whether it's a US or international trip will have a relevance. Then you want to think about how long can you go for. You may not want to travel 10,000 miles for a 1 week trip. So how long can you spend? Do you want to go for a long weekend? Do you want to go for a month? There's a lot of options of trips depending on how long you want to go on the trip. Then what's your budget? We all have to think about, obviously, our budgets. So what is it that you can spend comfortably? How do you want to pay for it? Do you want to use a credit card? Do you want to use a payment plan? What's your budget? And whatever you think the budget is, you need to add 20% to that, because I guarantee things always will cost more than you thought they might. You want to also consider your health. How is your health? What are you in good shape? Can you walk a long way? Can you not walk a long way? Do you have accessibility issues? You really need to take your health into consideration and be honest with yourself. And if you're not sure, have a chat with your physician. See what they think. Tell them what the trip is and what the activity level is, and see what they say. And then what's the goal of your trip? Is it cultural? Is it sightseeing? Is it volunteerism? Is it traveling with family or friends, called multi-generational travel? What is the goal of the trip? Is it just to go relax at a resort somewhere? That's perfectly fine. Is it a spiritual journey? Do you want to hike the Camino? Those are the things that you want to think about it with regard to the goal of the trip itself. So there are many travel apps out there. And in a previous video, I talked about using AI for travel, and I added in a bunch of travel apps there. And I've also blogged about it on my website. But here's one of the very most important thing is Google Maps. Now, I use an iPhone and I use Google Maps. I do not use Apple Maps. Frankly, I haven't used Apple Maps, but I haven't found them to be as robust as Google Maps. But you're welcome to use either Google Maps or Apple Maps, but I prefer Google Maps. They allow you to save places, they allow you to make lists, you can use it offline. There are so many features of Google Maps that make it beneficial. And one of my little helpful hints is that if you're on a tour or you're going to go wander around an unfamiliar place, set a parking location on your Google map that brings you back to your hotel or to the tour pickup spot or where you've parked a rental car. Those will really help you because I like to go out and be adventurous. But sometimes I get turned around, and even using a Google map may be a little bit challenging. But if I put in that parking location from wherever my walk originates, I can always get back by using that parking location tracker, and Google will take me step by step right back to that spot. So that's a big benefit. There are many travel planners out there. One that I'm very familiar with is TripIt, and there is a very robust free version for TripIt. It can be added to a phone, a mobile device, or it can be used web-based. It interacts with confirmations that you get in your email. So if you get a confirmation from a flight or a hotel, it would automatically populate into TripIt. But you can also go into TripIt and manually add all kinds of information. Their annual fee, they have usually around Black Friday, they have a sale for about half off. I think it's good, like around $30 a year. I used it for years for business, and I did not need to pay for the app. I have tried it on a trial basis, the more robust version of the paid, and there are some great features to it. So my suggestion is try the free version, see how you like it, and then you can always try a trial version. Skyscanner and Google Flights are both flight trackers that aggregate flight information based on your dates and your places that you've given them, and then they send you when there's a sale on a flight. That can be very beneficial. Hopper predicts the time to book flights, hotels, things of that nature. One of the questions I got during the live presentation was about third-party booking sites. Personally, I am not a fan of third-party booking sites. I have used them for researching things, but I find them to be, there's too many opportunities for scammers with third-party sites. Additionally, should you run into any kind of difficulty whether it be a flight or a hotel, you have to access the third-party booker to rectify the situation. And I don't like to have a middleman. So that's my personal preference. Everybody's different, but for me, that's something that I really don't want. So again, third-party booking is your choice, but it's not my choice. Here's a really great one, Rome to Rio. Rome to Rio, you can put in your beginning location and your ending location, and it will give you all of the ways that you can have transportation, from buses, taxis, Uber, flights, trains, whatever. It's really great. You have used it several times, and I have found it to be very helpful. I used it when I recently went to Calgary just to see what the options were to get from the airport to downtown. I've used it to find a train from London to Liverpool. I found out in the UK that they have privatized trains, so there's multiple options for trains to go places in the UK, and obviously in some other countries as well. So Rome to Rio can help you with that. Again, there are other apps like this, like City Mapper is a good mapping tool. It's not necessarily as good with the transportation options. Again, these are just some overview apps. There are literally thousands of apps for all these different things I'm telling you about. I'm telling you ones that I've had experience with and I know are reputable. PackPoint is a packing app, and so it talks to you. You give it the trip details. It'll help you pack with weather. On my blog, on my website, I have an article about packing as well, a blog I wrote. An invaluable tool if you are traveling internationally or somewhere you don't understand the language, Google Translate. Google Translate is an awesome free tool, and it can help you so many times. XE currency, there are other currency conversion apps. This is easy to install on your phone, and it will convert the local currency for you. So these are just a few of the top apps that I like, but certainly not all of the apps that are available. Then let's talk about AI for travel. As I mentioned, I have a full webinar on using AI for travel. So I have found AI to be an invaluable tool in planning itineraries. It gives you even links to tours and different things depending on which one you're using. Microsoft Copilot, I think, has quite a few of those things. Google Gemini as well. I find AI to be very beneficial in helping to plan and research different locations, different tours, different things. It's only as good as what you ask it. So you need to be very explicit in what you do ask of AI, because that will be how the result might be. So this is not to take away from travel advisors or travel agencies, because what you can do is you can prepare for that conversation by researching what you want ahead of time and coming to the meeting with your travel advisor with all the information in hand. It will make your life easier, their life easier, and they'll know exactly what you're looking for. And then if you need them to, they can find the pricing and do all of the other things. But you've got an idea of what you're looking at. And oftentimes they've already been to some of these places and or they know someone who has, and they can provide, actual feedback on the locations or the tours or the flights or the hotels. Let's talk about traveling with challenges, physical challenges. There are a lot of things that, a lot of places you can go that aren't necessarily friendly for someone who doesn't have full capacity for walking. These are just a few, and I got them from the AARP website under the top tour companies for people with physical challenges. And of course, these are more about, if you have a wheelchair or a scooter or something along those lines, or you're traveling with somebody who has those. These companies specializes in tours that cater to that demographic, and that's very important because you don't want to get somewhere and be disappointed because you can't do the activity. Most organized tours will tell you the activity level. They'll tell you if it's moderate, how much walking you might do a day, if there's steps, if there's hazards, things like that. I will tell you that my experience in foreign countries so far has been that there are a lot of issues with ambulating on streets due to cobblestones, older streets, holes in the street. There's a lot of stairs. I went to a very old restaurant, and we had a group that was aged 40 to age 80, and we had to go up a spiral staircase that was very steep. It was very challenging for most everyone in that group. We had to go very slow, and going down was even more difficult. If anybody had an issue with needing a walker or any other assistive device, they could not have gone up to that dinner. And that would have been very unfortunate. The other thing is, most tour buses have steps. Some have lifts. One of the things that when I was recently on the Rocky Mountaineer Railroad, and I have to give them really props because they have an actual lift built into the train car that will lift you up to the upper berth and down for your, because the meals are in the lower part and the sightseeing's in the upper. And they have golf carts that will take you right to that lift. They do a fantastic job. The Rocky Mountaineer Railroad, their tours are fabulous. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you someone's name, and they work with the Rocky Mountaineer if you're interested. But just don't get disappointed when you go places. Do your research. What What are the challenges? Know your own capacity, and that will help you. I'm pretty physically active. I have some aches and pains and some issues. I go a lot, but there are times where I'm tired because a tour has gone so many places or done so much or we've walked so much. The other thing is your luggage. If you're thinking about train travel and you have luggage, consider that. There actually, the tube map in London, it actually tells you where they have elevators or lifts or escalators, or where they have a flat platform where you can go right onto the train without taking your bag and walking upstairs. When I went to Amsterdam and I went from the central airport, or from the airport to the central station, it was challenging. Someone helped me with my bag, but I don't like to count on that happening. So think about that. Think about, can I lift my own bag? How am I going to ambulate with luggage or a backpack or whatever? Just think about it ahead of time. Now, I want to talk briefly about travels, not briefly, but about travel safety. And trust me, there's a lot of information on these slides. I'm not going to go through each one. I'm going to go over the highlights. Make sure you research your destination. Use websites, government websites, see if there's any travel advisories before you go places. Go onto forums, travel groups on Facebook. Read what people are writing about that have actually been there or lived there. And everybody wants to be safe. This world right now. There's a lot of stress and strife, and just be safe. Share your itinerary with someone or more than one person. This means both a written itinerary, which TripIt will share with them, or I use a Google Doc and I share it with my husband. You can also put location finder on your phone and share that with a family member or a friend so they can track you anytime, which is very helpful. But make sure people know where you're at, where you're going to be, and give them parameters, like if you don't hear from me in 24 hours, do this, or 48 hours, do this. Just make sure, especially if you're solo traveling as an older female, staying in safe accommodations. This is a tough one because it's challenging to what's safe. Downtown hotels and convention areas may be very safe inside, but maybe you shouldn't go out and walk around. So you want to research the accommodation, the area of town it is. Google Maps, use the live view or use the view where you can actually turn a 360 and see what's around your hotel and see how the area looks, right? That's one way to do it. Reputable hotels will also call them and talk to them. Talk to someone, in a manager or a concierge, and say, look, I'm concerned about the area. Can you please be honest? And a reputable hotel will let you know. If you're going to some foreign countries, particularly if you're going into religious institutions, I don't think for most older people this is an issue, but if shorts, bare arms, those bare head, that may not fly where you're going to visit. So you want to make sure that you always have something with you to cover up if you do, because sometimes you're going to go where it's really hot and you might be in shorts and a tank top. That might not be something that will allow you then to go into some churches, mosques, temples. So carrying a scarf or something to cover yourself is something you want to consider. The other thing is reputable and reliable transportation. Not everywhere has Uber. So research your transportation. Rome to Rio is a good way to just search the area about what's offered. In some places they have Bolt, they have Lyft, they have Uber, they have taxis. You want to always make sure it's a reputable taxi company, a real taxi company. In some areas, these people come up and they're like, yes, we're a taxi, and they're not really a taxi. Don't get in. If your gut tells you something's wrong, don't get in. That's common sense. The other thing is be cautious with your belongings. Pickpocketing is rampant in the whole world. I use a crossbody bag with my stuff right in front of me. I typically, if I'm wearing a sweater or a shirt over it, I will put it right over the strap. That doesn't necessarily work if it's hot, but make sure that you are very cautious. Don't have an open bag. Backpacks on your back are not safe. When I do have to carry a backpack, I carry it on the front so that it's right in front of me. Men, put your wallets in the front pocket or don't carry a wallet at all. You just got to be, they're so good at this that you think you're being safe and they're doing it right. You don't even know they're touching you. So I don't want to scare anybody by that, but I just want you to be practical and trust your instincts. Our intuition is built into most of us. It's a powerful tool. If something makes you feel uncomfortable or you're worried that something's a scam or something just doesn't seem right, walk away. Go away. Go stand by somebody that, stand by a policeman or go into a shop or go make yourself as safe as possible, but trust your instincts. Stay connected. Make sure your batteries are charged on your phone and carry a battery pack if you just carry a battery pack. Not if you think you need it, carry one. They're small. There's a lot of different options. If you go to my website, I have some things that I like. But carry a battery pack so that your phone is always charged and ready to go. And, go learn basic self-defense. Take an hour class. They a lot of places offer it locally, police departments. A lot of us women grew up knowing how to use our knee, but that doesn't always help, right? We want to do something that's effective and gives us time. All you're doing with basic self-defense is buying yourself a few minutes or a few seconds to get away. It's not going to stop any person who's wants to do you harm. It only buys you some time, but you should learn it. And beware of scams. Scams are everywhere. I just heard $1.6 billion lost to scams in the first 5 months of this year alone. That is crazy. Anything. I am leery of everything. I teach cybersecurity. And so I am very leery. I teach technology classes to seniors. I have a show on technology as well. Just assume everything's a scam. Just assume that everything is a scam. And then if it's not a scam, you can figure it out. But otherwise, it's bad right now. Bad guys are everywhere. Travel styles. What's your travel style? Think about this. Think about this when you're thinking about your trip, going back to that first slide about planning the trip. Do you want to go independent? Do you want to go solo? Do you want to go with a large or small group tour? Do you want to go on a large ship or a small ship? Do you want to RV or camp or some other like volunteerism, house sitting? Those are all actually considered travel styles. So think about that. Think about how your travel style is. And so match your travel style to those things that you want to do. I've done a lot of these things. I've done large group, small group, independent, solo, large ship, and now small ship. I have not camped, probably won't ever camp, might glamp, but the funny thing is I really love the outdoors. I just don't like the idea of spending the night outside in a sleeping bag. So I know there's some luxury RVs out there, and it's crossed my mind to rent an RV to go travel through like the western states into the state parks. I'm not saying I won't ever do that. That's just not me. But I see a lot of solo women in particular that they are going in small RVs. In fact, I had one on a previous episode of Senior Travel Adventures where I talked to someone in the RV club. There's a women's RV club all over the country in the United States. So more power to all of you. It makes me happy that you're happy. Okay, moving on. Lots of questions about travel insurance. Lots of questions. There's a video on my website, link to in my website, that's to a video about picking travel insurance. This I could have a whole show on just travel insurance, and I might. But they're single trip annual policies. You got to think about what type of coverage do you want or need. What does your credit card offer? What does your regular insurance offer? This requires a lot of time and energy to research, and there's no magic answer. It's not a one size fits all proposition. Most like tours or cruises will offer you single trip insurance, and that's going to cover most of your expenses for that trip, and that may be very advantageous. If you're going several times a year, an annual policy may be more to your advantage. They may have more limitations, however, on how much they pay out in total for the year. So you want to look at that. For me, medical evacuation, and if something should happen to me and I pass away while traveling, that my body can come home to my family and not cost them thousands of dollars, because it does if you don't have travel insurance. Those are things that are important to me. There's a company that does a global travel policy that's really intense. It's not cheap, but it covers just about everything. If you're interested in knowing more about specific insurances that I'm familiar with, email me. And also make sure you look at all the fine print on your credit cards and your regular insurance so that you're not duplicating and spending money where you don't need to. But somebody asked me in the live session about CFAR. CFAR is cancel for any reason, which usually ups the price of the policy. Be sure you know what any reason might be. Some are just it is absolutely any reason, and some have some limitations. So make sure that the cancel for any reason serves your needs. So where can you find me? Well, I'm everywhere. And I have my website, seniortraveladventures.net. I post most of my blogs there. Most of my videos are going to be on my YouTube channels. I have at Senior Travel Adventures is my YouTube channel. I also, at the end of this, I have a bunch of links on the last couple of slides, and I'm going to leave them in the video for a few minutes so people can stop and write them down. But I also have I'm also play on 2 local cable networks, one in Orange County, California, and one in Fresno, California. And I also play through Village Television's YouTube channel, which is out of Orange County. Those are full episodes of Senior Travel Adventures, Let's Talk About Trips, and also Let's Talk Tech, which is my technology show. I am on Instagram. I don't post as much there. I'm on TikTok. I don't post as much there. I'm involved in a Senior Planet travel group. So Senior Planet has these interactive groups that you can join, and they have a travel group. And sometimes some good questions come up there. These are the links that I was telling you about, so I will leave them up on the page. And I see that I'm kind of blocking the Senior Travel Adventures YouTube channel, but it was on the previous channel. So let me go back to that slide. Okay, it doesn't want me to go back to that slide. And then here's a link to choosing travel insurance. That's also on my website. A link to TripIt, Skyscanner, Rome to Rio, PackPoint. I'll leave that up for a minute. And then this is a group I collaborate with. These are actual travel advisors. I'm not a travel agent. I don't profit. I do all of this as a volunteer. This is a labor of love. But my Senior Travel Buddies is a group of over 18,000 people. They have trips that they post. They work with you. They're great people. I have gotten to know them over the last year, and so I do recommend them. So again, I thank you for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe.